with us Steph Lewis, who is a New Zealand politician and a Member of Parliament in the House of Representatives for the Labour Party. She will be looking to be re-elected in the upcoming local elections. Thank you, Steph, for coming in today.
Can you please tell the St George's community a little about yourself and about your family and where you've come from?
Kia ora, I'm Steph Lewis. I am the Member of Parliament for Wanganui. I've had the privilege and pleasure of being the MP for the last 3 years. I'm also a mum. I've got a 5-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old son. And I grew up here in Wanganui. So my dad was a prison officer at the prison just out of town, and we lived out there. My earliest childhood memory is of prisoners escaping from the prison. But my dad dreamed of being a farmer as well. And so when I was about 4, my parents bought a farm up in Waverley, and we lived up there as well. And so I had a really lovely upbringing on the farm and connected to the land there. I love representing our electorate in Parliament. So our electorate goes from the Wanganui River, just south of Wanganui, all the way up through Wanganui, South Taranaki, to just past Stratford. So it's a really beautiful part of the country.
What does a normal day look like for you as a politician?
There's not really a normal day. Every day looks a little bit different, but I can tell you what a normalish week looks like. And so I'll usually spend Monday in Wanganui here doing stuff in the electorate. So I might go out to meetings, go to a school visit, or go to a business out on Heads Road. I might have a clinic with some constituents where they can just drop in without an appointment and talk to me about some of the issues or questions that they might have. Then after dinner on Monday, I'll hop in the car and I'll drive down to Wellington, and then I'll spend Tuesday in Wellington at Parliament. So we usually go into Parliament about 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. at night, the same again on Wednesday, and then Thursday we're there from about 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Then I'll jump in the car, come back to Wanganui. On Fridays I typically spend in Taranaki, and then Saturdays I'll go around to the markets in our electorate and to different events that are on. But it's a really varied role. I could be out on farm one day, I could be down at the port another day, and that's one of the things that I really love about this role, is meeting the people and sharing the stories that we of amazing stuff that's happening in our electorate.
Can you please explain to our viewers what the Labour Party stands for?
So one of the reasons that I joined the Labour Party is because I felt that they really were there to support people, and I saw, particularly when Helen Clark was the Prime Minister, that they were about making sure that there was a safety net in place for people, because life happens, stuff happens that we just can't predict. And so for me it was about seeing that they were there to care for people and just give them a little bit of a helping hand to get back on their feet, and that makes a real difference in people's lives. And now, you know, also about putting our environment at front and centre and protecting it for future generations like my own children. So that, you know, that value of caring, of compassion, making sure that people have a warm, healthy home to live in, we've got good jobs out here in the regions, that's what drew me to the Labour Party.
How did it feel when you were first elected in your current position as the Member of Parliament for the Labour Party in 2020?
I was shocked and excited, and I went through a whole range of emotions, but I also felt the weight of the responsibility that the people who had elected me placed on me, and that's something that I've always taken very seriously. And so I've worked very hard to try and make myself available to people across our electorate, and I've loved this role, and I'm excited to say that, you know, in 3 years I've managed to get some runs on the board. I've managed to get some stuff happening out at the port. We've got a new bike park up in Stratford, and they've got funding to improve their walkways and cycleways for the kids around the schools up there. So it's a really exciting role that I absolutely love.
What have been some of your successes over the last 3 years?
Oh, I jumped the gun on the questions, didn't I? So some of my successes in the last 3 years, so I mentioned the port. The port's one that I'm really, really proud of because actually without that work that we did to repair the north mole down at the port, if the mole had kept eroding, it would have eventually failed, and then the river mouth would actually have been able to move up and down our coast, which would have caused significant potential flooding for the whole suburb of Castlecliff. So it was crucial just to protect Castlecliff at the very least, but it's also through that project unlocking economic potential here in our community, and by that I mean creating new jobs and allowing businesses down there to expand and grow. And so that's one that I'm really excited about. Up in Hawera, they had a school, 2 schools actually, that have been stuck in limbo since the Hawera Intermediate caught fire, and a really big fire took out most of the intermediate school, and so the high school was stuck in limbo as well while they decided what they were going to do for the future of both of those schools. And so that was an issue that I was able to advocate for, and now the community have an answer. They've got certainty, and we've invested in funding to rebuild that school. And again, in Stratford we've put in funding to improve roading up there. We put in funding to build them a brand new swimming pool for the community and improve the safety aspects for kids to get to school. So there's a lot that's happening across the electorate that I'm really proud of. And I also passed my very first private members bill. So that got drawn from the ballot in my first, I think, 6 months as an MP. And then I had to take that bill the whole way through the parliamentary process, through select committee, and that passed. And so that was a bill that was adding another layer of protection to our biosecurity here in New Zealand to make sure that travellers coming here to visit us knew that they had a role to play in helping us protect our environment from pests and diseases that they might accidentally bring in fruit or meat or animal products in their bag, or dirt that they had on the bottom of their shoes that they might not have cleaned. So again, that's a really important one for our primary producers, our food growers, just to try and help keep them safe.
If you're re-elected, what would you do for Wanganui?
That's a good question. There's a lot that I want to keep doing for Wanganui, and so one of the issues that we've faced in the last wee while is housing shortage. And so I've worked with our Minister, Megan Woods in particular, to make sure that Wanganui is a priority area for housing, and we have almost 200 houses in the public houses in the pipeline to be built here through Kāinga Ora. And that's important because the more houses that we build, so we'll increase supply, then house prices will continue to come down and make housing more affordable. So that's something that I'm really, really passionate about. I want to be able to see that through, but I also want to continue to advocate for projects here in Wanganui, like the port, that are going to create more jobs for our young people in particular, because I was young not that long ago, and I remember, going away to university and coming back and going, oh, what jobs are actually here for me? So that's something, that I hear a lot of young people talk about, and I want to make sure that we're growing opportunities to keep our young people here in the regions.
If you could have dinner with one famous person, who would it be and why?
Oh, one famous person. Does Jacinda count? I think I'd quite like to catch up with her and have dinner with her and see how teaching at Harvard's going.
Do you have any advice for students that would like to get into politics?
Absolutely. My advice is to keep your eyes open, your ears open, to take every opportunity that is offered to you, to learn and go to places that feel uncomfortable, because that's where you do your real growing, and that's where you come to understand a different perspective. And I think if you're going to go into politics, you need to be able to really listen and have I think empathy is an important part of being a politician and being able to empathise and understand, put yourself in other people's shoes, to experience what it might feel like for them, because then you've got that ability to go down to Parliament and passionately advocate and really push for solutions and outcomes that are going to benefit the people that you're representing.
Thank you for your time here today and good luck in the upcoming election.